Today's lesson is on how do we write and evaluate algebraic expressions. Ashley started with $217 in her bank account. She deposits $25.50 each week and never withdraws any money. Write an expression to represent the situation. Take a second to copy down the question. So, we're going to underline or highlight some key parts. She started with $217. She deposits $25.50 each week. So we have to write an expression to represent the situation. The key thing to remember is that an expression means there's no equal or inequality sign. So an expression is just an expression. No equal sign, no inequality sign. So if she started with $217, that's what we're going to start with. 217. She deposits. Deposits means it's being added into her account. 25.50 each week. So since we don't know how many weeks it is, we can represent that with W or X. We can use any variable we would like. A key part, though, is since we introduced this variable of W, I need to state what W is. So W equals the number of weeks. So this whole part would be my expression. The $217 that she started with plus the $25.50 each week. So it would be W. The second question. The cost to rent a scooter is $15.50 per hour, and the cost to rent a watercraft is $22.80 per hour. Write and use the expression to determine how much it would cost to rent a scooter for 3.5 hours and a watercraft for 1 3/4 hours. Take a second to copy down the question. So I'm going to highlight some key information. A scooter is $15.50 per hour. A watercraft is $22.80 per hour. So I'm going to have to write an expression for both the scooter and the watercraft. So the scooter is $15.50 per hour. Since I don't know how many hours it is, I'm just going to write it as 15.5 H. And the watercraft is $22.80 per hour. I don't know how many hours it is, so I'm going to represent that as 22.8 H. So now, I'm going to identify what the variable stands for. In both cases, H represents the number of hours. So that's the first part. Now I have to use my expression to determine the cost to rent a scooter for 3.5 hours and a watercraft for 1 3/4 hours. So this is easy. All I have to do is substitute in for the number of hours. So for the scooter, it's 15.5 H, and in place of the H, I'm going to substitute 3.5 hours. So when I do 15.5 times 3.5, my answer comes to $54.25. Now, for the watercraft, I need to determine the cost to rent it for 1 3/4 hours. So when I do 22.8 times 22.8 times 1 3/4, my answer comes to $39 $8.90. So that would be the cost to rent my watercraft for 1 3/4 hours. And the last question. Amelia earns $8.74 per hour plus a gas allowance of $3.50 per day at her job. How much does her job pay in a day when she works 5 1/2 hours? Write an expression and evaluate for 5 1/2 hours. Take a second to copy down the question. So I'm going to start by highlighting my key information. $8.74 per hour plus $3.50 per day. How much does our job pay her in one day for 5 1/2 hours? Write an expression. So since we're only talking about one day, this 3.50 is just a one time 3.50 plus the 8.74 per hour. So I can call that 874H. But remember, I always have to identify what my variable is. So in this case, the H equals the number of hours. Now the second part says to evaluate for 5 1/2 hours. Evaluate just means we're going to substitute in. So I have my 3.50 plus 8.74 times 5 1/2. So now I just do my order of operations. 8.74 times 5 1/2 equals 48.07. I bring down my 350, and then 350 plus 48.07 is equal to 51.57. So that is the money that she earns in one day for working 5 1/2 hours.